So Danny Flexen for Seconds Out. Delighted to be joined by Gary Logan, former good pro, trainer now, pundit, wear many hats. At the moment you're wearing a red hat with Big P on it, but generally you wear a lot of different hats.
Which doesn't stand for prick.
Everybody keeps saying not. We'll see as the interview goes on, but how's everything going? How are you finding the training side, especially with all the restrictions we've had until recently?
Yeah, well, obviously you just got to keep working through. We've kept, I primarily, obviously, commercially it's been hard. Mainly I've been training clients online. And obviously when we gave us the go ahead to go back in the gyms, it was great because then obviously you're back to face with people. But it's a different world now. Everybody's wearing masks. You got to wear your mask. You got to keep your social distance. We can pad them, but it's obviously got to be with a mask. And clients just can't walk into the gym random anymore. They got to book online for even if they're only training themselves. They got to book in and say, right, say you're coming in the gym at 8 o'clock. You've got a 90-minute segment for yourself, and then you've got to be out the gym. So in order to allow other clients to come in. So yeah, it's been a bit of a difference.
And what about on the pro side? Because you've got a couple of promising guys at the moment. How have they been getting on? Have they got dates to work to at the moment?
Dion Juma. I don't know. You may have heard. He's been now. The board have said that negotiations for his mandatory challenge to Richard Riakporhe have to be settled by I think the 5th of October.
Okay.
So we're just waiting for that now. We're just waiting for Richard. I spoke to Steve Goodwin. He said he's talking to Eddie Hearn. So it's a fight that it looks like it's going to happen. I'm hearing rumours that Riakporhe may vacate. We're training with the mindset that we are facing Riakporhe. I'd be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if he walked away. Dion is a tough fight for him. And he talks about fighting for world titles. I don't think he's ready for that. And I think a Dion Juma Riakporhe fight is an amazing fight for the British public, especially as the cruiserweights are a really big talking point, not only in this country but in the world. They're really good fighters. So we'll see. But we're training with that mindset. We've kept training with that mindset. Dion wants to prove he's the best. That's the only reason why he came back. After 2 years out, there was a power vacuum, as it was, where the Okolys, the Chamberlains, the Billam-Smiths, and the Riakporhes, they ascended to positions of somewhat relevance. Some of them are a bit, I would say, I'm not sure they're really interested in being the fighters that they say they want to be. Billam-Smith, I do believe is. I believe a Billam-Smith will step up to the challenge, will take the challenge on of a Dion Juma, who beat him twice in the amateurs. I think Billam-Smith is a warrior and is a man enough man to say, right, I'll fight him as and when it suits. But as for Chamberlain, I've lost it. I don't know what this guy really wants to do. I don't know how he wants to go about proving that he's wants to be in the cruiserweight mix in this country. So we'll see.
You're not just a trainer and a former pro, a very good pro as well, but you're a boxing historian, it's fair to say. I don't want to annoy Spencer Fearon by saying that. He might fancy himself the only boxing historian around the same age, but you got past him as a pro, so I think it's allowed. You're obviously a massive Four Kings fan, as I guess most of us of a similar age are.
Yeah.
But we had a big weekend of boxing just now. And I think it's obviously too early to say anything harks back to that era. But the two Charlo twins performed incredibly on Saturday night or the early hours of Sunday morning here.
Yeah.
And if they get the fights that they deserve, we could see a similar sort of era. Triple G's getting a bit older now, but Canelo's still there. Andrade, of course, not really been challenged the way he should have been so far. What did you make of their performances on Saturday?
I always get their names mixed up, so you're going to have to help me. But I know they're good fighters. The middleweight fight I watched first, actually. And going in, I was salivating for the Derevyanchenko fight simply because I'm a big fan of the Russian. I'm a big fan of his. I think he's always I just wanted to see, would he be able to overcome being an early man of the division? Because I thought he just beat Golovkin.
Yeah.
A lot of people didn't. I thought he just beat Golovkin. I thought he gave Danny Jacobs, a prime Danny Jacobs, a run for his money. And I just thought, wow, he knows this is probably his last chance to get hold of a title. And, mate, Charlo boxed so well. His jab was on point. He was doubling it up. He was tripling it up. Both the Charlos, they really count you. You got to be on the P's and Q's when you fight the Charlos, because they're always looking for that counter hook, aren't they? Always looking for that counter hook. If you fought, I mean, they've got such good footwork and such good movement, deceptive movement. It's not like Sugar Ray Leonard movement or Roy Jones Jr. movement, but it's good fundamental movement. And it's very deceptive. It makes you think, right, I can get him. He just steps just that bit out of range, just enough space for him to counter with that left hook. And they both do it. The middleweight. Jermall, is it?
Jermall's the middleweight. Jermell's
right. So he's got a much better punch ratio than his brother. So that was always going to cause Derevyanchenko problems, because he was just getting off first. Derevyanchenko just couldn't get off, and he was getting nailed by the most fundamental punch in the boxing book, the jab. He just couldn't miss with it, and that's what busted up Derevyanchenko. So he beat him on the inside, he beat him on the outside. It was a good 12-rounder. I think he would have loved a sensational knockout, but Derevyanchenko is very, very tough. And but it was a statement fight. This guy wants to fight Canelo. He's beaten a man probably more handily than what Jacobs did.
Yep.
And he's beaten him more handily than what Golovkin did. So, he deserves a shot at the, what is it called? Supreme oh my God,
the
WBC
champion, yeah.
Whatever. The intergalactic champion, whatever. But, Canelo is worthy of whatever. I mean, it's a great... I was there watching it, and by about the 9th round, I said, wow, I would love to see how he would... obviously, Canelo wouldn't make him feel that comfortable, that's for sure. Canelo's head movement and how close he gets to you in order to counter punch is something I don't think Charlo would have faced. And Canelo's met many styles, and he's met styles similar to Charlo's, so... But Charlo's young and hungry, so that'd be a great fight. But yeah, they made a statement. The other brother, it's crazy and I don't want to be. If I had to critique him, it's what the commentator says. His punch ratio is not very good, and luckily for him, Rosario defensively is a one-track pony. He doesn't really move his head. He just tucks up and wants you to unload. Yeah, so wants you to unload so that he can unload with you. And unfortunately, he was taking little shots that were slowly wearing him down. And just those numbing left hooks again. When you're getting hit on the temple like that a good few times in a fight, it starts taking its toll. And everybody goes, oh, my God, this guy got stabbed with a body shot. It was a really well-timed body shot. It's a really well-timed jab to the body. They're really good at putting it all into a jab, the Charlos, as is their stablemate, Errol Spence Jr. I believe that's the way they're coached by Derek James, So he's done a great job with them.
I guess it's also exhaustion plays into it as well at that point in the fight, that even if it is a jab, if it's in the right place and you've already been chipped away at for a number of rounds, it's going to feel, a lot more pivotal than otherwise would be.
Yeah, well, and also he just got over the shock of a heavy knockdown the round before, hadn't he?
Yeah.
So takes you a while to get yourself back together. And if you're breathing irregularly and someone stabs you in the gut with a dirty jab, it's quite shocking. The same thing happened to me against Jamie Moore in my very last fight. Jamie hit me right up the solar plexus, took all the fight out of me, and that was it. Good night.
We're friends now, though.
Yeah. I've got so much respect for Jamie. He's a classy guy. I mean, I'm not making any excuses. He hit me quite low quite often during that fight. And the first thing he said after the fight was, Gal, I'm so sorry for hitting you low. It was really frustrating because every time I touched you to the elbow, you were coming back with counters, and it just frustrated me. And unfortunately, that frustration fed over into the Robinson fight, where he then did get disqualified, you know.
Yeah.
But, it takes a big man to say that. He didn't have to say that. He's the victor, you know, and I always say the winners write history. He didn't have to say that. But, you know, he was classily trained by Oliver, and who we do miss, because he was such a classy man. And Jamie's carried that over. I can see the communication and the relationship that he has with his fighters is being handed down, and he's got a great energy about him. I love him.
Gary, why have you never grown your stable beyond a few fighters at a time? Have you never wanted that kind of big bustling stable? Is it to give them more dedication of your time, the few that you do have?
You know what? I was thinking about that the other day, you know, and in all honesty, I'm sort of like, I think it's only recently that I've kind of started making my name in the game as a coach. You know, before, everybody used to say to me, mate, I'll tell you what, even up until 6 years ago, people used to still say to me, oh, you're still MCing? And because I was such a jack of all trades and everything. And I don't think, in all honesty, I don't know if people really took me seriously. I don't know, because then I was with Adam Booth. The people in the boxing industry, the people that really know boxing, they know I'm a good coach. And, you know, Adam doesn't suffer fools gladly. I wouldn't have worked with him for a couple of years if that wasn't the case. But I needed to break out on my own. I think also working with Adam, you're not going to get fighters of your own, because you're working with Adam, and he's getting elite fighters coming to him who he's paying you a wage to help him coach.
Sure.
So that, but when I got with Adam, I just started training a young super featherweight called Joe Boy Taylor, who unfortunately Joey got hand injuries. He got hand injuries and he just couldn't continue his career, and he had a really good stonemason business, which he's done really well with. But Joey was really doing well, I think he'd had 3 out of 5 stoppages. He's going well. And I really did think that somewhere down the road, him and Mitchell Smith was going to be a great super featherweight British title fight. I really did think that. That didn't happen. And then obviously after Joey sort of knocked it on here, that was it. I also got Liam Shinkwin. But in answer to your question of not getting a big stable, I'm not close to that idea. I'm no longer close to that idea. I would like more fighters, definitely, because I love working with different fighters. But it's got to be financially worth my while. You know what I mean, Dan? Like taking on more fighters, you got to make sure that these fighters are fighting, because if they're not fighting, you're not earning. And commercially, my commercial work helps support my ability to coach professional fighters. I'm not an Adam Booth or a Joe Gallagher or a Dominic Ingle who can just, or a Dave Colwell who can just say, right, that's it, pro fighters all day, every day. I've got 5 or 6 of them coming through the door. I would love that. And I still believe it will happen. Maybe it'll take a year, 18 months, but I still believe I'm going to have a bigger stable. I've got a couple of amateur kids that they wanted to go pro now, and I said to them, no. I said, pandemic or no pandemic, your place is to get a better grade in the amateurs and get some experience in the amateurs, and have a bit more of an experience. Kids are going pro too early now. They want it now. They've had 20 amateur bouts. They think they're ready, and they soon get found out.
What's the state of play with the TV work? Are you still doing Toe to Toe, the podcast? Are you still doing other?
Yeah. I'm still doing bits and pieces of that. Obviously, we're not going into the studio now because of obviously COVID. So I'm on a rota at the moment. They sent me a rota the other day, which is quite funny. My rota, I'm on October the 20th, the next one. But the last one I was on was with Adam Booth. We had Adam Booth on the show, which was last week, which is a really good show. That was really good. But hopefully, when things get back to normal, I'll be back in the studio like the old days, where we have someone in the studio and then we take them upstairs and we do a podcast with them. So I'm still very much in the Sky shake-up. I do like that. I love, you know me, Dan. I love talking boxing. I love, as you said, I love the history of it. The Four Kings, the Muhammad Ali era. It really does intrigue me. It really does intrigue me. His story is, the more I read about it, the more I discover it, the more just little things like, you know, we got the most entertaining Ali post his peak. That's what people don't, you know, that's what people need to, this is how incredible this man is. The US government took away they took away his peak years. And once again, when he came back, there was a power vacuum, just like Dion Juma. I believe Dion's the best cruiserweight in the country, but until he gets the opportunity to get in a ring with these guys, he's not going to be able to, you know, the man in the street's going to say it's going to be Riakpo or Billam-Smith, and as they should do, because they're title belt holders.
Sure.
But Ali, when he came back, he said, I'm the real champion. They took away my title. I want to fight Fraser. And it's crazy how quickly he fought Fraser, considering he made his comeback in 1970, and by March the next year, he's fighting Fraser. That's just nuts. He came back, I mean, none of these guys would do that nowadays. He came back and fought the world #1 contender, Jerry Quarry.
Yeah.
And then he fought Oscar Bonavena. And then he fought Fraser. I mean, that's just mad. That's crazy. Yeah. Just
shows you how much times have changed, I guess.
Oh, times have changed, you know, they really have, you know. And but, you know, what TV channel carried what US TV channel carried the Charlo fight the other day?
Showtime.
I really thought their commentary was really good, that they just said, you know, we want to see more of these fights where guys are putting all the belts on the line. And that was a really good statement, you know. That was a really good statement from commentators, because they know sometimes the reluctance of promoters to work together, you know, and I think they're just sort of making a shot across the bows there, saying to these promoters, "Come on, man, let's get these deals done. Let's get a Crawford and Spence. Let's not get that. Let's not let that be that what if fight, you know. Let's not be that, you know. Let's not be let that. I mean, like, we got Roy Jones versus Calzaghe, but how late did we get that in both their careers?
True.
You know? Yeah.
Let's hope that spirit of cooperation filters through over here, so you can get the fights with Juma that you want.
Yeah, well, you know, as I've said, you know, he's mandatory. You know, Richard. The fact is, Richard has to fight him or vacate the title. If he chooses to vacate him, then I would think that we may well see Dion Juma versus Chris Billam-Smith, which in itself is another great fight. Billam-Smith's been beating the guys he's supposed to beat. Dion beat him twice in the amateurs. Billam-Smith will definitely want revenge. They've had tasty spars over at McGuigan's gym. So yeah, it's a great fight.
For 2 belts instead of 1 as well.
Yes, exactly. British and Commonwealth. And it's so funny. I was just watching, you know, the late great Alan Minter, and this guy did it all. He did the British, he did the European, he did the world, you know. And gosh, just to get out of Britain. I mean, look at those fights with Finnegan. Those were they were some fights, you know. So yeah.
Great stuff, Gary. I really appreciate your time. It's the first time we've done this, certainly in Zoom. Yeah. But it's been great, and hopefully get to see you soon as well once everything's been normal.
Yeah, hopefully, mate. We will do. But whenever you want to give me another Zoom call, just let me know, man. I'm here.
I won't leave it this long next time, I promise.
No, definitely not, Dan.
All right, mate. You take care, and I'll speak to you soon.
Take care. See you soon, mate. Bye.